Hello my dear student, welcome back to the online classes. I'm your English lecturer Chandrashekhar Rathod. Today we are going to studying about English literature. So background study of English literature, we'll go with that. What is mean by English literature? So as we know that it is an art of writing. Right, so it is an art of writing. It may be an oral form or written form, right? That is called the literature. So today we'll go with the English literature. Before going about your topic, I just want to tell you that what is mean by literature, right? Literature is classified according to the whether it is poetry, prose or drama. We are classifying that literature, it may be a poetry, prose or drama. So that's called the literature. It can be a poetry or prose, that may be a poetry, prose or drama, that is considered as a what? Literature. So what is poetry, what is prose and what is drama? We have to discuss today on this topic. And such works are categorized according to historical periods. So in the period means time, the historical time, there are some works are becoming classifying, or there are adherence to certain aesthetic features or genre, right? Aesthetic features or genre. So in the time of a historical period, for example, so on the time of Queen Elizabeth, ruling, someone wrote a work, maybe that can be a poetry, poem, or maybe a drama, or maybe a prose. Okay, so that fellow considered as if his work drama, he wrote a drama, many dramas, then we considering him as a Elizabethan dramatist, right? So on the time of historical period, such works we were considering them on their period. So we are dividing history of English literature on the time of historical periods, right? Literature broadly is any collection of written work. Any collection of written works means, collection means those works we have which written. But it is also used more narrowly for writing specially. Writing specifically considered to be an art form. So which is considered as an art form. Literature means art of writing, we considering as art of writing, right? So which is a written form or oral form. That's also considered as a literature. If it is an oral form, for examples, ballads. So ballad means in a Kannada ಲಾವಣಿ ಪದಗಳು ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓರಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ರಿಟನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಾಯಿಂದ ಬಾಯಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಬರವಣಿಗೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು just assuming that's what's mean by the literature, right? So now we'll go with the forms of English literature. What are those forms of English literature? I think you already know that what's mean by the form. Form means here I am going to introducing the forms of English literature: prose, poetry, drama, fiction. So in the part of prose, fiction and non-fiction we are going to divide in, right? So what is a prose, what is a poetry, what is a drama, and what is a fiction or non-fiction, right? We'll go with these things by explaining these things. Today's class will explain these forms. Okay, first one we'll go with the 5 main genres. So I am dividing here fiction and non-fiction in the part of prose. Okay, in the part of prose I am dividing that fiction and non-fiction. Non-fiction, then it is a fiction. What is a non-fiction and what is a fiction? I am going to clarifying you that to the example. First one, writing that is true. It is the work that must be a true, that can be historical event which has happened on this earth, right? That must be a truth. Then we considering non-fiction, which is imaginary, that can consider here fiction, right? Imaginative or made of writing, that is what? Fiction. Which is a imaginative, that is fiction, and which is a truth or historical event which has happened on this earth, that is considered here non-fiction. I'll give an example for these two classification, these two genres. First one, story must be a truth, right? You have studied in a PUC. For example, fiction. P. Lankesh work that he wrote, Gardener, right? That is what he had a dream. That's his past dream he wrote. So P. Lankesh work, that's translated to English. It is in a Kannada work. So Gardener is a imaginative dream, that is not a fact or that is not a truth. Then we consider as fiction. That work as a fiction. Gardener is a fiction, right? So non-fiction must be a truth. So there is events which added in the poem of water. Challapalli Sarupurani, who added some events in the poem of water. Mahad Struggle, it's Chadar Tank by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. That event, it's true. So, it is a true, it is a fact, it is a historical event happened on this earth. That is what? Non-fiction. That is not imaginary. That is a fact thing, right? Fiction and non-fiction. You got the meaning of fiction and non-fiction. Fiction means which is a imaginative, doesn't truth. That should not be a truth. That might be a imaginative. I can create the heaven on this earth. So there is a poem. There is a poem of Kuempu's, right? Imaginative about the heaven. Imaginative story he wrote, imaginative poem he wrote about the heaven, right? The next one, folklore. Stories once passed down orally, not in a written form, orally, right? Which is not in a written form. The story which is passed down. My grandfather told me some stories which is not in any text or which is not in any written form. So that stories orally he told me, and now I can recall those stories. That is what the folklore we call as a folklore, right? The stories should not be in a written form, that must become orally. Orally means ಬಾಯಿಂದ ಬಾಯಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಯಾವುದು ಕೂಡ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಬರೆದು ಇಟ್ಟಿರಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರೋ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾತ ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಸ್ಟೋರಿನ, ಕಥೆಯನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. ಆ ಕತೆ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹಂಗೆ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಕತೆಗಳೇನಿದಾವಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಫೋಕ್ಲೋರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಓರಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರಿಗಳನ್ನು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, ಡ್ರಾಮಾ, ರೈಟ್? A play or a script. What's mean by the drama? That must be a play. Play means drama, a script which is a written form, right? So a script we have in a dialogues. In a drama, characters, dialogue, emotions, feelings, everything must be shown, right? That is what the drama. You have already watched a lot of dramas at your locally festivals. You may watch it, I think that. For example, drama people are seeing at Amareshwara festival. So there are a lot of drama or plays were performed on that festival, right? Next one, poetry. What is mean by poetry? So in a PUC second year, I believe that books will never disappear by the Boses. If I have studied about meaning of poetry, right? What's mean by poetry? Poetry means writing concerned with the beauty or language. So the writing form. So poetry, it's nothing but aesthetic pleasure, which gives to the some meaningful hidden meanings we called here. That must be a short, but it's have a lot of meaning. It shows to the its own way of lot of meaning, right? That's the poetry. You already know about the poems. Today we'll end here the today's class. I request to you subscribe the channel and follow it and share it to your friend. This is what the information can be helpful for them, right? Today we will end here only. Thank you for the today's session. Jai Hind.